Alright, guys. Hey, Carnage, what's up, man? You took a game off of Stork? Hell yeah! What'd you do, man? What did you do? You gotta tell me. Once you know, once you hear this with the 3-minute plus Twitch delay, let me know, man. That's awesome. You took a game off. I'm almost encouraged to ask you for the replay. I want to see what you did. Alright, welcome back in, guys. We are in the Red Bull qualifiers, the global qualifiers, that is number 2. There's still also a third qualifier that's going to happen this coming week on Thursday. So as long as I'm going to be moving, that's going to be a very chaotic day. I'm going to be moving out that day, so pending on how ahead I get in my move, and pending what I have to move on that day, I might broadcast it, I might not. I'll try, but I'm not going to promise anything. That's why I left it as pending on the schedule. So down here at the bottom right side of the map in the round of 16, leading 1-0, we have Symbol. So I got to do after this broadcast, upload VODs, and I also have to go into my each server, make sure to line up all of my hotkeys all on the same thing. Alright, he's playing, of course, against a very talented Protoss himself, representing CJHush. It is Hush. Now, like I said, just so I don't want to say no, it's not something that we're wrong. It's just Hush sat back too long. He was very passive. I like this concept. Now, this is one thing I'm going to look back. If you guys remember during the earlier stages of that game, that first War Prison that got sniped down by those two queens and those roaches were huddling around it, if Hush was a little bit more on top of it, and as soon as the War Prison flew in, he started warping in units, and the War Prison was able to outlast and live, I feel like Symbol would have been put under a lot more pressure to either move out of his position that he was in. He was in a very forward position. He was already by the gold base of Hush's, so he either would have had to move some Swarm hosts back to defend, or, you know, just let a lot of things die within the main base. I feel like if he just warped into everything in time, he would have been able to get the hive, he would have been able to get the infestation pit, etc., etc., etc. But eventually, you know, it just got to that point where Hush felt like he was lacking on numbers. I feel like he had too many Tempests and not enough Void Rays, and not enough Colossus. All of those units, they do take up a lot of supply, but I feel like at some you have to have the 6 Colossus. I feel like maybe 6 Tempests to 7 Tempests are probably fair, and then everything else just Void Rays and Templars and Archons, and then charge lots everywhere else on the map where you're warping them in. It's tough. Like, as a player, for me, again, like, a lot of this is assumption based, I will admit, but I'm just trying to see what's going to be the, like, what better way maybe Hush could have played that out, and I saw potential in it as well with the harassment that was going on. We'll see. I don't know. It's one of those replays I'll actually just look back to, like, analyze and see where he went wrong, or where he had some openings. Because for a while he didn't have a bad concept. He kept harassing. He took out hatcheries. He brought Symbol down to 3 hatches, or 2 hatches actually. He had the natural and the third base, and that's it. If he was just able to blow away that Swarm host army with the spines and spores and the 10,000 queens, Symbol wouldn't have been able to reproduce. He just wouldn't have been able to reproduce. You saw right there when that, like, later stage harassment happened, Symbol was literally building roaches off of 2 hatcheries just to defend against all of the charge lots for the most part. So who knows, man? It could have been a different game, different time. So Hush, of course, opens up with Forge Fast Expand on this map. Very risky, by the way, I will add. If your opponent's being very aggressive and very cheesy, man, that is a big ramp to cover, so good to see that he was able to get that wall off. Now, with the Forge Fast Expand, of course, we all know the benefits. You get a little bit of bonus econ out of it, go to quicker Nexus up. My interesting thing, okay, Stargate, I was about to say, what is going to be the follow-up? And just, I mean, right in the nick of time, Symbol floating in, spots the Stargate getting planted, so he gets a lot of time to prepare. This is a decent map for oracles in the sense where you have a direct flight path. It's a one-way route, man. It's a one-way ticket right into the natural, but Symbol knows this very far ahead of time, so not only does he have a lot of time to continue producing workers and tech, but he'll have that timing in his head where he's going to be able to throw down the spore crawlers very short after. There we go. And that's what I was talking about. So see, a little bit of time to tech up in spores, but Hush going for Phoenixes now. This could be interesting. +1 upgrade. Okay, never mind. Robo. Damn it. All right. Like I wanted to try to guess what Hush was trying to think right now. I was gonna say maybe we're gonna see the mass zealot Phoenix, so we could see maybe like the charge lots really quick. I don't know. It's one of those styles which is kind of fun to watch. It's very heavily pressure based. Just mass charge lot Phoenix. We watch the Phoenixes as they begin just raiding everything, take out the queens, start taking out some of the heavier units like roaches, maybe even banelings if there were any. And then just let the zealots run amok within the bases and the tech and the structures. So we'll see though with Phoenixes that there is a lot of potential for harassment as well. So you can't really count them out. Work along the edges, snipe away at anything that they possibly can. If any unit's out of position, they'll take advantage of that as well. We're seeing that infestation get dropped. Gas is getting taken in the main, finally, the 3rd and 4th. Roach Warren done, Roach Speed underway, so we might just see, once again, a very similar style out of a symbol. Swarm Host. Hashtag finesse game, man. Hashtag slow playing it, man. So, Symbol, if he goes once again into Swarm Host, I'm gonna be like, man, like this dude must be the guy at the poker table that just like chain bets, has pocket aces, sees an ace out like on the initial draw, and knows his opponent probably doesn't have any. I don't know. Like it would have to be like a very useless card, like the 8, like on the draw came out, like the ace and like random like a 4 and like a 7 came out. So he knows he's got like 3 of con, but he's just gonna slow play it anyways. He's not gonna push it off. Huge warp in right here of zealots, and we do have Phoenixes over here, so we could see a little bit of a lift, or hopefully we'll see a little bit of a lift off. You can take out a couple of the queens out of the way to allow the zealots to, to allow the Phoenixes to work their way in a little bit more efficiently. Alright, the Warp Prism's going to lift up, cancel that Warp in. The Locusts were right then and there waiting for him. Zealots will continue working their way, aggroing away at the Queens. Queens should be pretty safe, though. They do have a little bit of time to transfuse. There we go. We see that initial transfuse. I don't know if actually any of them have additional energy, at least the healthier ones. There's one that's a little bit more healthier that could transfuse, and there we go. We see it happen. These Zealots are getting a lot more done than I think they were supposed to. And the thing about it is you're just watching massive amounts of Overlords starting to drop. So for the current time being, Symbol was a little bit supply block there, so had to produce actually Overlords before you could think about anything else. Meanwhile, Hush, while he's distracting his opponent, got a 3rd base up. You could see the cannon. He'll probably continue off with a walling off this line right over here if you guys can see the mouse. Colossus production underway. Nidus network now. Heyo. Where is the Nidus? Has it been spotted yet? It might get spotted right now. Hold on. No, it hasn't been spotted yet. There's an observer. Is there an observer? There is an observer literally 2 inches out of range. 2 inches out of range of this Nidus network. Oh, and what do we have over here? We have a Ling right in position to be able to just drop a Nidus, start spurting creep like crazy. Yep. Oh, there we go. Called it. Oh, that's unbelievable. And the funny thing is, he couldn't have done it any other way, really. That's because if he had Overlords on this side of the map, he wouldn't have been able to pull it off. They already all got picked off. The Phoenixes are out on the map, so he had to pull back anyways. There's that. Oh, that orgasmic sound of Swarm Host just starting to pop out. Nidus network on burrowing. Now he's got to make sure he's got to start creeping away, because that's very important to be able to get a quick creep spread, let the Locusts travel as quick as they possibly can in every region, and he's got to make sure to creep up as well along the backside as well. Give himself as much vision possible to like, sorry, that's such a bad way to say, to be able to give himself enough vision to spot any oncoming attack from any angle. Spore Crawler's going to get thrown down. Does finally spot the Nidus network. There's a Spore kind of picking away. Phoenix is still trying to potch out a lot of these units. Viper's floating across the map. Now that's a very dangerous spot to find yourself in. That Viper is very lonely right now. Not a lot of support if the Phoenixes were able to just spot it. Though we do still see the War Prism still attempting to find a little bit of room to harass. As you can see, we'll hop inside the main base. I think this is just barely out of vision of Symbol, or should be barely out of vision of Symbol. Yep. So he will be taken a little bit by surprise. Now charge is just about done, and I think that's what exactly he's waiting for. If you could get charge, that's when he'll warp in. The Zults are going to be a little bit more efficient. Now here comes all that wall up right here. We see a lot of spore crawlers because they're basically the biggest threat right now to the army. The locusts aren't going to be threatened by Colossus. They're not going to be threatened by charge lots. Their biggest problem right now is phoenixes, as well as also any anti-air that he could find. Now, very cute right there as you watch that combination. See, it's little things like that that make it cool to look at StarCraft. The Viper just sucking away at the life force of this Nidus worm, and he just transfuses it over and over again so you could get the most out of it. So very efficient. Now here we go. Here's that creep spread we were talking about. Units are starting to pull forward. He's going to snipe away at that Colossus. Going to snipe away at a second Colossus. Oh, baby. Now he will go for the Viper. The Viper doesn't go down because of all the transfuses. Takes out a Phoenix, takes out another Phoenix, and the Viper still stays alive. But Hush realizing, hey, instead of trying to focus down the Viper, let's actually get some of these queens out of the game. They're actually the bigger problem here. They keep healing all of these units. So, looks like the main base got cleaned up, the Warp Prism, but he's going to head down to the bottom left third base. Spine Crawlers are getting formed, but not in time before some of these charge lots do come in. Another Nidus network is going to form right now. I think he accidentally killed it off with getting energy from it. So this time around, try to snipe the Colossus once again. Not going to be able to have that chance. Meanwhile, third base though, getting wrecked a little bit. REKT'd. Doesn't have an observer. He has. Well, I thought he had an observer over here. If he actually floated that observer over wherever it was, he could actually maybe get some of these swarm hosts out of the way. They're going to be able to just continue producing Lukes for the time being. But here we go. Here comes Roaches. Here comes the Queen. If he gets his third hatch down, I am a little bit worried for Symbol. There's a little bit, like we said, swarm hosts are elastic units, so eventually he's going to be able to maybe, you know, outgun him and eventually push this back, on which it looks like it's going to be the case. But man, if he lost that hatch, like trying to rely on this army alone, I wouldn't be as confident. Because Symbol last game, remember, he had. He had 5 hatches, like when he was already in position and very aggressive. This time around, he's sitting on 3. Now, Colossus number is sitting at 4. He's trying to keep everything alive that he possibly can. We're looking at Symbol right now, and he's trying really hard to snipe down this Nexus. Creep spread is leaning its way very deeply inside the base, so if you could get an observer out, this is going to be very volatile. Now 5 Colossus are out on the map. He's almost at that magic number, and you're going to watch and see the AoE is going to clear out pretty nicely. But the Viper, that one Viper, man, that one Viper, the hero Viper of all, just keeps snagging away little by little at Colossus, continually decreasing their numbers. And there we go. Another Spore goes down. He's starting to try to press on through. The Queens are transfusing each other. The Spore Crawlers are doing a wonderful job as well, clearing out a lot of this. And he continues storming, takes out another set of Locusts, and here we go. This is going to be that judgmental moment. Can he break this? He's got 3 Colossus left. He's got Stalkers, but I don't know if they're going to be enough. And no, he's going to push it back. Swarm Crawlers, Queens, and the Swarm Host combination are a little bit too much for him right now. And part of this problem is I still don't see an observer right there under him. Where is the observer? He needs to clear this creep out. He needs to push it back. That's part of the problem. Colossus goes down. Oh, another one almost falls, able to save it barely. But yeah, this is just that point in time where I feel like Hush just needs to stay a little bit more patient. Stay humble, stay a little bit more patient, because if he keeps kind of jumping in little by little, he's going to continue losing units here and there. And to say he's just going to go for the counterattack. He says, alright man, you do what you got to do, but I'd love to see these Roaches and these couple Swarm Hosts actually hold it off. But check this out. Remember, Nidus Network is fully intact. He's going to reburrow them back at home. And I think Hush didn't expect that either. Oh, man. Where's the observer? He's got no observers. This is really the one thing that's really hurting him. He's got a good Stalker number. He could actually right now technically just jump right on top of them and start picking away at the Swarm Host. But instead, he's going to get snagged. Viper's gonna push this completely back, so Symbol bouncing around between, and remember he's also got a complete force over here of another set of Swarm Hosts, so Hush caught between a rock and a Swarm Host. You can't really do too much. Blinks in the back. Gonna try to, oh, he's gonna try to snipe the Nidus. He's gonna get it. Snipes the Nidus. So reinforcement is gonna have to walk across the map unless he rebuilds it, in which he is right now. Very interesting show right now of Nidus network usage. Locusts are trying to drop down this Nexus, getting very close, man. Not a lot of HP. They might actually still be able to get it down. They do indeed, man. 3 Locusts go in hero mode. Nidus Worm, of course, over here finally getting to be able to reinforce. No observer. Remember? Oh, there they are. Okay, they're actually at the bottom right side of the map. Vipers float across, though. They weren't able to. They can't, of course, go down into the Nidus network. That'd be one hell of a flight path for them. A little bit rocky, a little bit bumpy. It's like watching like one of the like Star Wars or like Star Trek, like going through like a meteor field or like one of those like tunnels. That'd be the case. This time around, though, with the observers, I feel like this might be a little bit more promising, at least on the end of the natural right now. It's a crazy game just watching how back and forth this is, though this is generally that type of playstyle we used to see in 2013 a little bit more often. Very heavy Blink Stalker with Colossus just trying to fight off the initial wave, back off of the Blink Stalkers, and as soon as it was cleared out, hop right on top of all of the Swarm Hosts. He's got to be very careful controlling the observers. He's only got 2 of them. There's still this Spore Crawler over here that could be pretty dangerous. If they float up a little bit too far on ahead, then if they get sniped down, they completely, basically SOL his opponent. Now Roaches filter on through right now. They're inside the main base. Hush doesn't really have much of an economy. Decides to recall everything back. The one thing that's really the saving grace, if anything, right now for Hush is the fact that Symbol still is sitting on 3 base, technically. He's already, for the most part, mined out of his natural. He lost the hatchery. His main base is practically mined out as well. Another Nidus network is going to be popping up back here. Just can't do it, man. He just, unfortunately, can't do it. Swarm Host back at home helping save everything at the front. There's a frontal force of even more Swarm Hosts. Good snipe on the Mothership Core, another snag. Nidus Network pops out once again. Colossus gets sniped down if he could actually focus down with the Locust, and indeed he does now. Due to the lack of econ, you can't produce Colossus at this point very efficiently, and you can see right now Hush being very desperate for minerals, having a long distance mine, and he's long distance mining through this swarm of Swarm Hosts. The Locusts are just getting way too much surface area, taking absolutely everything out, and units are falling left and right. I think this is over. I think Symbol got this game. The final units are falling right now. It's not like it's going to get better. These are all free units he's losing. Like, Symbol's just building up a bigger wall. He's got a huge barricade of units, and all that's happening over here for Hush is just constant losses. Now, Hush is trying to fight it out as best as he possibly can because his tournament life is on the line. This is single elimination, guys. But drops that GG.